Not dealing with infertility will be the biggest regret of your life. Let me tell you a story. I was in the Virgin Islands with several couples. We were on a sailboat that we chartered, and we were anchored over this way. This is a island called Saba Rock in the British Virgin Islands, and there's a restaurant here, and we were waiting on our table, and a buddy of mine who I've known for a long time, we were standing right here, and they feed tarpon here, the cooks do. While you're waiting on your table, you can watch them feed the tarpon, and the big fish come and they eat the food they give them. I was taking a video of the fish. I sent it to my daughter, and I called her, and I was talking to her and my granddaughter over the phone and talking to them about the fish and showing them that. And my buddy comes up to me and he says, you know, not having kids has been the thing that I regret the most. And we're in one of the most beautiful places on earth. We're on a private sailboat, and it's just a gorgeous vacation of a lifetime, and he's thinking of his biggest regret that he's ever had. I don't want you to be in that situation. And I've got good news, and then I've got some bad news, and then some good news again. Good news is there is hope. If you're suffering from infertility, there are steps that you can take that can help almost every couple overcome it. The bad news is that the standard medical approach to fertility is extremely expensive. It rarely works, and it can actually rob you of your health in a number of different ways. But the good news is there's a new approach to infertility that will answer all the questions that you have about why you're infertile and what steps that you can take to overcome it. It's hope for people like Colette. And she said, after going through this program, I feel I'm in control of my fertility and my health for the first time. Laura, she said, this really works. AcuSmart Fertility gave me clarity about what I had to do to get pregnant. That is a key concept in the approach that we recommend. Charnella, she said, I had PCOS, that stands for polycystic ovarian syndrome. I don't believe I would have ever gotten pregnant if it wasn't for AcuSmart. I was seriously skeptical, but I was at the end of my rope. What else could I do? She said she couldn't afford IVF, that's in vitro fertilization, very expensive, and nothing else worked. After making much needed changes, I stood there 4 months later, overjoyed with a positive pregnancy test in my hand. Thank you, AcuSmart Fertility. Here's what we're going to cover today. Why many couples can't have a baby, why the treatments that most doctors are doing don't help improve your fertility, and then a new approach that you can take that will answer your fertility questions like, why can't we get pregnant? Why is it? And what can we do to get there, to get pregnant, have a baby? Who's this program for? Well, if you're in a situation where you've had unprotected sex for 12 months and you're still not pregnant, then this is definitely for you. If you're over 28 years old and it's been more than 6 months that you've been trying and you haven't gotten pregnant, this program is definitely something you're going to want to pay attention to. If you've had miscarriages, if you've had in vitro fertilization performed and it hasn't worked, then really pay attention to what we're going to be talking about. If you've been trying to become pregnant and nobody really seems to understand why you can't get pregnant, there's no reason that they can figure out, and if you're willing to do what it's necessary to have a baby, because our program isn't for everybody. It does require some changes to lifestyle and that sort of thing that you may have to make to get there. But it has a long track record of success, so stick with me a little while. I'm Dr. Blair Masters. I'm a third-generation chiropractor, acupuncturist, and nutritionist. I've been in practice, it'll be 35 years here in February. Patients regularly pay me $500 an hour for health advice, including fertility advice. I'm a lecturer. I've taught these same techniques that I'm going to be going over in this program with you to doctors in several states. I'm an author. I've got a number of ebooks, and we've got one on Amazon called You Can Cure Your Depression. the developer of the AcuSmart Health app. My purpose is to help bring wellness to the world. And when I say that, my goal is to improve your health to the point where you're fertile so that you can have a baby, and in that way improve your wellness, and that improves the wellness of your community and improves the wellness of the entire world. And I have helped hundreds of couples just like you improve your fertility and have a baby. Let me talk to you about Autumn. She had some serious roadblocks to her fertility. She was significantly overweight. She had polycystic ovarian syndrome. This is a syndrome where there's cysts on the ovaries and it can throw your hormones off and cause lots of problems, including problems with fertility. She was pre-diabetic. She had poor diet. She had candida in the uterus as well as the gut, her intestinal tract. And she had a kind of a negative role model in her own mother that caused her to have some conflicting beliefs and caused roadblocks to her fertility. We helped her approach all of these things, but before that happened, she actually got pregnant once, but then she had a miscarriage. And she had hit a wall. She was ready to give up and accept the fact that her body wasn't able to get pregnant, just wasn't able to reproduce. And that's when she came to us. And we were able to help her clear out these roadblocks, clear out the problems that she was having. And she lost weight, she got control of her diet, she eliminated her candida, she removed the emotional roadblocks, and now she has a healthy baby girl. And she's trying for a second one now, currently. I just saw her the other day, and she's lost a significant amount more weight. She's looking great, and I don't think she's going to have any problems. But you can understand how couples can go down the path of taking hormones and trying in vitro fertilization. People get desperate. What they do is they take powerful hormones that force the female body to produce multiple eggs in one cycle, and then they harvest those eggs, get sperm from the male, and then under a microscope they get those together, and then they reimplant it back into the female. And then hope that things take off from there and you become pregnant. They're missing a number of important steps when it comes to this, but this is a quote from verywellfamily.com. They said, most couples require a few cycles of IVF treatment for pregnancy to be achieved. One large study found the odds of success, pregnancy success, after 3 cycles was between 34 and 42%, not even a 50% chance at that point. This is from the website advancedfertility.com. They said the average cost of a cycle of IVF in the United States was $12,000 plus the cost of medication. That means the average couple will spend $36,000 plus and still only have about a 38% chance of success. After all that time and expense and taking the hormones, and for the female in particular, it's kind of like a hormone roller coaster that you're on when you're under IVF treatment. It really can cause a lot of problems, especially long term. And then still only have a 38% chance of success. I don't think those are very good odds myself. We talked about Autumn, but this program, AcuSmart Fertility, has worked for many other couples as well. Nicole, she thought she couldn't have another baby until she did. Curtis, he was kind of the limiting factor in their relationship. He had low motility and low sperm count both. When we implemented our approach, he increased the sperm count and the ability of them to swim and get the job done, and now they have a baby. Allison, she also had PCOS. We were able to help her get rid of that and carry on with her fertility journey, and she now has a baby as well. Emotional roadblocks are something that most fertility programs really kind of ignore. And that is something that we talk about a lot, as well as a lot of other things. But Connie, that was her big issue. And we taught her a technique called dynamic consciousness repatterning. And that helped her eliminate emotional roadblocks to her success. Vanessa, she had issues with her fallopian tubes. And what had happened, she'd had infections in the past, and fibrous tissue had grown into her fallopian tube, so the egg couldn't travel down the fallopian tube properly and then become fertilized. And we taught her and how to take various supplements, as well as do fertility massage and break up that fibrous tissue in those fallopian tubes. And she was able to, she's pregnant currently. Uterine infections kept Stephanie, I'm going to talk about her case here in just a little bit, but kept Stephanie's dream of having a baby from being realized until she implemented the methods that we discuss in this program. The Triad of Health is the best way to improve your health and fertility. We look at your problem holistically, and if you don't cover every base, this is part of the reason why in vitro fertilization has such a low track record of success, is they're only looking at really one thing, and that's implanting a fertilized egg into the uterus. They don't look at the uterine health, they don't look at the acupuncture system, they don't look at emotion, they don't look at they don't look at nutrition, which is a huge factor. There's a number of things. And whether you're suffering from PCOS or endometriosis or uterine fibroids, low sex drive, yeast infections, or problems with testosterone or sperm motility, the AcuSmart Fertility program can help you with that. Don't let infertility be your biggest regret in your life. Click the link and schedule a time where we can talk. There's no charge for that conversation, and I usually like to do it over Zoom, and I like both sides of the couple there, so I can actually show you how we do the evaluation. You do it on yourself. I teach you how to do that. We go over this on the phone, and before you get off the phone call, you'll actually have more insights as to what's going on with you than when we started the phone call. We'll cover your fertility roadblocks, what you've tried, what's worked, what hasn't worked, and come up with a plan of attack that will dramatically increase your fertility. And if you decide, this doesn't sound like something we want to do, or we want to take a different approach, that's okay. There's no charge for that phone conversation. And if you do get into the program and find that it's not a great fit for you for whatever reason, there's a 100% money back guarantee. If you're not able to have a baby, if you're relying on wishing and hoping and luck and eventually, hopefully it'll happen, honey, that sort of thing. If you're thinking about trying hormones or in vitro fertilization, don't make any decision until you seriously consider the AcuSmart Fertility program. It's the best way to improve your fertility and take control of your fertility and your health. You remember Stephanie. We talked about Stephanie earlier. She and her husband spent over $48,000 on fertility doctors and treatments, and she had her final IVF scheduled in the future when she came to us. And she was like, this is the last time it's gotten out of hand when it comes to the expense. We've spent so much money, we can't do this anymore. It's one more time, and if that doesn't work, we're just gonna not have a baby. Well, what we found with our evaluation is that there was a problem with her uterus. And really, when you think about it like growing a baby, this is the soil that the baby grows in, just like growing a garden. Here's the uterus, and here's a close-up. Stephanie had problems with inflammation, and she had candida infection on the inside of her uterus. Now you can imagine, if you take a fertilized egg, whether it comes from getting together naturally and making one of those things, or it comes from IVF, in vitro fertilization, either way, and it gets implanted into a uterus that's inflamed and isn't healthy like this, nothing's going to happen that's positive. You just can't grow a baby, a healthy baby, in this kind of environment. And when we were able to identify that, and get rid of that roadblock in her case, then Stephanie was able to become pregnant. There's 5 benefits of the AcuSmart Fertility Program, and I'm going to give you a 6th one here as well as a bonus. It puts you in control, and until you experience this, you will not understand what I'm talking about when I say put you in control. And you'll experience that on the phone call to some degree, but you will understand completely what is wrong and what steps need to be taken to get the problem taken care of. It's the best holistic approach to improving your fertility. There's no doctor visits. It can be applied to every part of your health, not just fertility, and it virtually guarantees fertility improvement. And if it's not for you, there's a 100% money back guarantee. So you have 2 choices. Option number 1, stay on the path that you're on. And this is the easiest step. You don't have to do anything. There's no financial risk, and there's a huge opportunity risk, however, because there is a time limit on your fertility. You know, people's biological clock just keeps ticking away no matter what you do, and eventually, no matter what you try, you're not going to become pregnant. So take advantage of the time that you have currently and don't wait. The second option is make an investment in your health, make an investment in your fertility, invest in your family, your future family, become healthy, fertile, and have a baby. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Things to know about option number 2 if you decide to go that direction. It puts you in control of your fertility. You will know the right step to take. It is an excellent way to hold yourself accountable. And there's ways that we do this with our fertility program. That is the control part of it. It really is something that you can evaluate at any moment and see how much you're progressing. And it's excellent speed of implementation as well. Some people make very rapid results because we take such a broad, holistic approach. We knock down all the dominoes that are in your way at one time. And once your health starts to improve in one area, it goes to the next and the next and the next and the next, and your health will dramatically increase over time. But this isn't for everybody. You know, I have lots of patients who want to improve their health and they're just not willing to take the steps that are necessary. If you're willing to take the steps that are necessary to improve your fertility and have a baby, click on the link, schedule a time where we can sit down and talk and go over your options as it relates to the AcuSmart Fertility Program. If you're stressed because you can't get pregnant, if you want to know why others don't seem to have any problem, there's people out there who don't even want to get pregnant and they become pregnant. Click on the link and set up a time to discuss your next steps and how we can help you and what it would take. There's no charge for the consultation. We'll explain everything that goes into it and all the steps that would be required on your part, so there'd be no wondering, no, is this going to work for me? You'll know when we get off the phone whether or not it would likely work for you or not. Let me give you a couple more examples. Aaron, I asked him, hey, do you mind writing down your experience and how things went with the fertility program? And this is what he wrote. I lost weight, feel so much better. My gut has decreased and I have my energy back. He didn't even mention anything about fertility, but he improved his sperm count and improved the motility. Now, this isn't his actual picture, so keep that in mind. Stephanie, I'm so excited I have my Allison, but I also feel healthier and my hormones are more balanced since I got rid of my PCOS. Lisa, once my candida was better, the dominoes just started to fall in place. That seemed to be the last thing that was holding my body back from getting pregnant. Here is what will happen when we get on the phone. We'll get to know you and your situation, where you kind of stand, perform some actual tests. I'll show you how to do this and perform those while we're on the phone together. Help you identify where to start your fertility journey, and then help you create a plan to get there, in a certain amount of time and the steps that it would take. And if you feel like it's a good fit and want to know more, then I'll go into more details of the program as well. And we have programs that fit most any budget. Click on the button, schedule a time. I'm really looking forward to talking to you about your situation and how we can help it.